Hello guys, so part 1 we finished installation of our gazebo pergola structure. Now we are going to work on installation of plywood, roofing felt paper and shingles. As you can see, I've completed the whole job here in these pictures and it looks beautiful. Guys, I got it done and I'm sure you can get it done as well. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so these are the plywood pieces which I purchased from my local hardware store. They come in a size of 4 by 8 and approximately my roof size is around 150 square inches. So I got around 5 pieces, 4 by 8. Pretty simple from this point on. You're essentially measuring on top of the roof. You come down, you measure your plywood and start cutting. Okay, so this is the second method you can use to cut your plywood. So you can actually bring your plywood up on top of the roof and you can place it, mark it, right there as you can see I'm doing it, and then just bring it down and cut it. Another important thing to remember while measuring to cut the plywood is the plywood on the outside is gonna sit at the very edge of the structure, but on the inside it's gonna sit in between the 2 by 4. So on one 2 by 4, you're gonna have two plywood sitting. So you want to make sure that you measure properly. Look at the arrow so you'll understand how to measure. So in this picture, you can see the installation of the plywood from under the structure. So here you can see my son and I are working away and we can't wait to start using our gazebo. So here you can see Ryan is hammering the nail right in through the plywood. Is going to go in the 2 by 4 underneath, so that way the plywood will sit nice and tight on top of your roof. This picture clearly shows you the measurement, as you can see, from the center of the one 2 by 4 to the center of another 2 by 4. And again, it's very important. I cannot stress enough, because if your plywood is not cut properly, it's going to wobble and the structure will not be stable. Ryan is just making sure before he starts hammering the second plywood, it's nice and close. We should leave a very minute gap, maybe like a 2 mm gap in between the two plywoods. So what happens is in the weather, sometimes the wood contracts or expands. So when it expands, it has enough room to move. So that's the reason you want to make sure that you leave very tiny gap in between the two plywoods. Here you can see it's just measuring, cutting, and nailing the plywood away on top of the structure. So here the structure is ready. The whole plywood is installed right on top of our structure. So once everything is done, before we go to the next step, I just like to kind of, like I just quickly sweep it so it's nice and clean before we start installing the roofing paper. So here we have started to install the roofing felt paper. So here we have started to install the second section of the roofing felt paper, and we use the cap nails to nail the paper in. This picture shows you the completion of the roofing paperwork. So the whole panels, all the plywoods are being covered at this point with the paper. Before we start with the shingles, you should install the drip edge. So the use of the drip edge, as you can see in the left picture here, is when the water or it rains, the drip edge essentially pushes the water away from your structure, so keeping the wood and everything safe and clean. So you can see in the right picture, I'm taking the measurements, and you essentially just cut it and start installing it. Just nail it in right in the structure. So in this picture on the left, you can see I'm inserting my hand. So we are trying to leave a gap between the drip edge and the wood. That way the water flows away and not even a single drop shouldn't be going on the wood. And then we are nailing it in right, as you can see in the right picture. So I got the Weathermax shingles. So drip edge is done, our roofing felt paper is done. So now the next final step is installing the shingles. And here you can see on the right picture, it's an interesting one because the very first one which you install on your roof, it has to be upside down. So as you can see my arrow, the cut on that shingle should be facing up on the very first layer. After the first layer is done, you will install the second layer with the cuts facing down, and then the third layer will go on top of that. I've even circled to show you exactly how the nail should be positioned. So in between the two cuts, you should have around 4 nails, and the positioning should be the one as I showed you in the picture. And please use the galvanized roofing nails because they last longer. Here we are trying to cut the extra overhanging piece of shingle. Just want to make sure that you've cut it flushed to the drip edge so it looks nice and neat. Here, as you can see, we are installing the shingles. We have started from the bottom of the structure and working our way up. This is almost halfway done, and you can see it looks awesome. This is the final, almost done now. So when you are kind of overlapping the shingles, you will find a little empty spaces, as you can see the black ones near Rayan's hand. And you just need to cut the shingles from the leftover pieces and nail on top of these ones. So it looks nice and clean and the same color. And you can see that in my final picture. Alrighty, so this is the last of the part. Everything is done. Here you can see the structure is complete. The roofing paper is done, drip edge is done, and finally all the shingles have been installed. It's 100% complete. My wife even installed some light bulbs, and you can see in my last picture, it's going to look beautiful. Like it's looking awesome, guys. So I hope you can do the same. Don't spend any money. You don't have to give it to the contractor. I did it and I know you can do it as well. Any questions, let me know. Please subscribe. Thank you. Alrighty, so this is the final product. Everything is complete. All the light bulbs are installed. All the work's done. It's just final cleaning up going on here. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll try my best to answer them for you. Okay, guys, good luck and be safe. Bye now.